Hey everyone, this is Chris with Chris and Rob Game Room. Welcome to the show. We're going to do our live stream for Wednesday. We're a little bit late. Sorry, some things got in the way, but we're going to be here to talk about a few things. So, we're going to be talking about what we did this weekend. We're going to talk about the championship that just happened for the two-team takedown, and then we have a few other odds and ends we want to talk to you guys about. So, get it starting on that. Ben, thank you for coming on the show. What did you do this weekend?
I've just been practicing for various upcoming competitions.
Sounds quite vague.
And yeah, no, CanNats is coming up. Trying to organize how to get there for the upcoming competition. I'm going up by myself, or trying to get some people to go with me. Or up, I guess it's kind of right, depending on how you look at it.
It's all relative.
It's east. It's east somewhere. I don't know. Country's a big place. Canada's a big place.
Is it? It seems like very big and empty.
Oh yeah, that's true, but it's super big. And yeah, so that's kind of been practicing. I got a little bit of a sunburn, so Canada's warm as well.
I didn't think UK people could tan.
I'm from Turkey actually, so.
Oh, okay, so you super can tan.
I can tan, but I got burnt. Like it's not. I don't get burnt normally, but I got burnt. So that's how hot Canada is right now.
Holy crap! That's insane.
I believe it.
I didn't. I didn't think sun existed here.
It should.
I thought it was like the northeast in the UK.
So, Joe, what's going on with you? What's happening?
Oh, just getting some stuff ready for what's coming in the future with the channel and doing our video series and stuff like that.
All right, awesome. Did you go to any events or enjoy anything or anything like that, or no?
Over the weekend?
Yeah.
Over the weekend, no, I didn't. I try to enjoy the one weekend off that I get every 6 weeks. So.
Yeah, that makes sense. Family probably wanted to hang out with you, I guess.
we went to the zoo on one of the hottest days on record, and that was a mistake. Oh, we were doing Pokemon Community Day, which I didn't get a shiny Charmander, and I was kind of upset.
Oh yeah, what was with that? I heard like everyone was doing Pokemon Go, and some guy got like 7 Charmanders or something.
Yeah, so the Pokemon normally they've been doing community days for this year, and they've got like 5 total events scheduled for right now, and they have more coming up throughout the year. And basically, Charmander was like you have an increased rate of Charmanders that would just pop up during 1 to 4 p.m. depending on where you were at, and so you would that would increase your chance of shinies and stuff like that.
Need some Pokemon Dice Masters, huh?
I mean, I wouldn't mind it. That'd be a lot of fun.
If your like dice could evolve, like it's like a bit like Rare Nowhere.
Yeah.
That would be kind of interesting. It would be very frustrating because you couldn't exactly see what they were wanting to evolve into.
Well, I mean, the closest mechanic we would have to that would be like flip cards and or.
Well, flip cards if they were good.
Yeah, so like.
Flip cards are okay.
A flip card would be like on one side you have Charmander, and then would flip over to Charmeleon, and then like you'd have another separate card that would be like Charizard. You have to have like Charmeleon on your team flipped in order to play or purchase Charizard. That kind of thing.
I want a Magikarp card. I feel like that would be like, and I want it to be really good.
Magikarp card?
Yeah.
You would have to evolve it, and it would just be so frustrating to try to evolve that in a game.
Yeah, you evolve. Yeah, it'd be really difficult, but like if you did it, like
you just win the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, you would have to have like 4 combat turns with like a really weak Magikarp that you would have to flip.
And then the foil version could be like a red Gyarados. Oh man.
There you go.
Pokemon was cool.
It
is cool, I'm sure. I haven't played the like 2 most recent. Well, I don't know how many more recent. I haven't played since Sapphire, I think.
Oh wow, you're behind the times.
I haven't played since Red and Yellow and Blue.
No, come on. Gold and Silver were the best. Actually, Crystal was the best.
Crystal was the best. All right, back to the main reason why we're all here together before we lose the one viewer that we have.
I'm going to talk about what I did on the weekend. I went to an event at Duncanville, and it was a Golden Age event, and I proceeded to lose every single game, much is tradition.
Wow.
And got inspired to make a team, copy a team, I should say, and try to build off it a little bit. But that's gonna be, yeah. I'm really interested in it, and other than that, I basically just prepared for the championship game.
What did you take to the event?
A really crappy version of a Dragon Team.
Okay.
And I just did not play it right. So
needed a little bit more follow up on that one.
Yeah.
That Ring of Winter, do you run Ring of Winter?
Oh yeah.
It's kind of hard. It's hard to line up. I mean, it can line up, and then it's really good. But if it doesn't line up, you have to have your bag management on point.
Well, I had my bag management on point. It's just for Golden Age, I didn't bring the right dragons. I should have brought four cost dragons, and I just don't have any 4 cost.
Like the blue dragon, that's really good.
The blue dragon's amazing.
Or the white dragon.
Yeah, I think that was one of my favorite combos. The blue dragon with vulnerability.
Mm-hmm.
You guys remember what that card was? That card was super good. Yeah, I really like that combo.
And I was going to bring my Yuan-Ti Cube team because it was golden, and I knew someone was John, who's one of the best players in the DFW area, and no one ever talks about it, but I think he's one of the best players in the DFW area, if not the best. I knew he was coming, and I told him he had to explain it to me like a child how his team worked, and he didn't, and he destroyed me, and I took that as a win. So, yeah, that's what I did. I got destroyed in Golden Age event. So,
what all won the event?
John playing his Manticore team.
Okay. No, there was no sign of Beholder or Ultraman or.
No, it
they're more casual.
Well, yeah, because we have a lot of new players and we're not trying to scare people off.
Okay.
And that's why Bard and Cube were banned. Mm-hmm. And it makes a lot of sense. I probably should have just taken an Attune team anyways because I'm more comfortable piloting that. I've played it many times. Should have done that, but I didn't. Oh well.
I feel like sidekicks with Mimic Ramp and Gobby would be pretty good.
Sidekicks, period, are just so good.
I know, but imagine they have Gobby.
Yeah.
Pretty brutal.
And I got rare Danger Room foil. I got super rare Jubilee through trades with helps of Robert and whatnot. And I also got, I'm getting rare Bishop in the mail soon. And I'm getting rare Merlin, all from trades because the cards that I got in blind picks. So,
not bad.
Yeah. Pretty sweet.
So pretty good weekend, huh?
Yeah, pretty fun.
So you traded the Boom Boom, Super Rare Boom Boom for
Jubilee.
Jubilee. It's a pretty good trade.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I traded it to Kenneth Crow on the forums. He mostly just is looking for similar card that he's trying to get, and he was getting a lot of people willing to trade him like cards that were not nearly what he needed to get that Jubilee, and I was the only one that offered a super rare, and it was Boom Boom, and he needed that, so he straight away traded for that.
You should have traded him more, you jerk.
I said I asked him if he wanted more. He's like, no, I'm fine with that. And I was like, all right, cool.
Yeah, no, that Boom Boom is pretty good.
Yeah.
I feel like that with the collectors a thing.
Yeah, it's just I think
Nabi's easier to go off with.
Yeah, and there's things to modify Nabi to make him go off even harder. Whereas Boom Boom, you just got to fill more things.
And not only do you have to keep like 3+ characters on the field at all times, but you need to have different types.
I'm sorry, what was that, Ben?
That was phrasing.
Oh. I don't have the right phraseology, okay? God.
What did you say? Your Nobby
can go off?
Can go off. And what happens?
I forget.
It's a little bit harder to go off or something.
Yeah, a little bit harder to go off. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Boom, boom.
Yeah. So let's talk about what went on today. Today we had a little championship on our channel.
Just a little one.
Just a little one. Me and Ben commented on the matchup between James Bloor and Patrick Barley, and Man, I was so prepared for it to be just a knockdown, drag out fight, and it happened so fast. So fast.
It was a knockdown fight, huh?
Yeah. I mean, it's just Patrick didn't get his roles. That's really all it boils down to, and James got literally everything.
The thing was, Patrick opened really badly both times because of his roles.
Yeah.
Like the first game, he didn't Heimdall resurrect properly. And then the second game, he did manage to Heimdall Professor X.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, Heimdall resurrect. But he didn't. First turn, he rolled 3 masks, which bought him an unstable canister, which...
Yeah. It wound up
right
helping him out.
Boom Boom, right?
Yeah.
If you're running Boom Boom, it's good. But if you're not running anything to do with actions, then...
Yeah. I mean, that's... I felt bad for Patrick. I was... It's just, there's something about playing against James. People just don't get their roles. James doesn't always get his roles, but he gets around to it.
Well, I think Patrick made a mistake in the first game, he tried to set up his win condition when I think he should have just went all out Bishop Wonder Woman control.
Mm-hmm.
The second game, I think, was just a freak. Like, James rolled that Gold Dragon super well, got Ring of Winter exactly when he needed, got 3 bolts to ping off Hela as well as Breath Weapon.
And it was just super gross.
Pretty ridiculous. So
yeah. I mean, we did comment that he should have, like, Bishop would have been a good move, but at certain points it just got to be too late, and it was too long.
The thing is, if he was going to do that, he would have had to sacrifice buying his win condition, so it would have been an extra long way around.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Patrick. We got to talk about it though. I that first game, I think it could have gone either way up until a certain point, but when it got to turns, it was going to be really hard for Patrick to have as many turns were left to try to eke out. So he just said he called the game there and gave it.
That's difficulty. That's also the difficulty with playing in competitions. Mm-hmm. Like a lot of the better players, Dice Masters, will be better over several games because they'll play the first game, do something, realize, I made a mistake here, and then in the next 2 games, if it's best of 3, we'll be able to adapt. Whereas in this tournament, you can't do that because you have to win with both teams.
Yeah,
and you only have 3 attempts.
Yeah, that's what's super rough. Joe, you were kind of watching the stream, seeing how it went. What were your thoughts?
I thought the commentary was pretty bang up. Ben called a lot of the stuff that they needed to be doing or were probably going to do. And, I mean, I really felt for Patrick a lot of those times, especially whenever he rolled 3 masks. It's like, it's bad enough when you're not rolling what you want, but whenever you're forced to do something that's completely outside of what your normal turn procedures are, because you just don't have access to that energy, then that's the death knell right there. You just can't go on anymore.
Yeah, even if he'd rolled a fist and had to buy Yarnborn turn 1, which wouldn't have been ideal, it still would have been like that, an extra piece in his bag.
Yeah.
So like Patrick was literally looking at the worst case scenario.
A Kobayashi Maru.
There you go. But that's not to say that he didn't handle it pretty well, because like you were saying, he did go to turns on that first game, and he was able enough to sort of survive and stave off whatever James was doing.
Yeah, it's just at when he gets to a certain point, James was just trying to it seemed like almost like James was trying to stabilize the whole entire time until he got around what Patrick was doing and just started pushing face, and it was just he had all the actions in the world to really just boom boom Yancey, and it was pretty gross.
So
it'd be really interesting.
Go ahead.
Sorry. I was just gonna say it'll be really interesting to see what people do with that immortal team now.
Mm-hmm.
And where they can kind of go with it from there, because a lot of the pieces I think Patrick has nailed down expertly, and that team isn't far away from being super competitive. So how can you make those couple of tweaks to make it even more?
I mean, I've talked to him a little bit about what he wants to do to it, and what he wants to do is pretty straightforward, and he knows what he needs to change out. It's just he couldn't do it in this tournament. And it was a good launching pad to figure out what he was going to play for Nats.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of people. I think anyone who's serious about kind of playing at a national level is looking at what they can do with Immortal. At least testing out, right?
Yeah.
Would you still? I mean, the biggest question is, would you still use that Wonder Woman Steve Trevor combo? I guess that's the biggest question.
Well, I mean, you could maybe drop Steve Trevor, but the thing with it is, it gets you Wonder Woman really quickly, and it gives you stats. And the biggest thing with that Immortal team, apart from the biggest weakness, which is Scarlet Witch, the second biggest weakness is being able to get stats on the board.
Right.
And the Wonder Woman Steve Trevor give you that in abundance.
Yeah, I mean, Wonder Woman also didn't roll super well whenever he got her to go out. She was constantly on the low side, and that's just super rough. You'd kind of need her on her second or optimally third side. Even though she's super expensive to field, it's still, for the numbers on the board that you need her on her top side to really make a difference. And I think if he would have got that more often than not, which honestly, James pretty much had things come up exactly when he needed, like that spot reroll. How many times did he reroll that and got it every single time? Was it 3?
Yeah, I think it was 3, and then the turn he missed it, he got 3 investigates anyway.
Yeah, and just rolled his whole entire bag anyways. It didn't matter.
Yeah, he rolled almost perfectly. I think, especially in that second game. I think the first game, Patrick did his best to try and keep the spot away, but that came back, and then the second game just went.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
Tough.
I mean, Patrick doing his thing to keep the spot off the board kind of kept pushing him off from doing what he needed to do to get his win con, I mean, he just wasn't getting anything except for bolts. So I mean, it's a scene. It's a consequence of just
Which
what
is
you're
weird,
getting.
right? Especially because he doesn't really have, apart from Steve Trevor, he doesn't really have any bolt characters. I don't think in that team.
Yeah, he was rolling natural pawns.
So, but that's the kind of careful balance you have to kind of manage, right? You can't keep sinking. I think you mentioned it in the coverage. So the boom boom is weak, right? Two defense.
Mm-hmm.
But if your opponent keeps sinking their energy in trying to remove it and get rid of it, that's them wasting 2 bolts every turn.
Yeah.
So there's a fine balance. And it's a little bit like the parallax trap. Like at what point do you stop trying to remove their pieces and just focus on what you're doing? And that's kind of balance that didn't quite go right for Patrick. Maybe through no fault of his own, maybe through just persistent rolls by James.
Yeah, well, I mean, you can't really argue with 4 spot rerolls coming up just perfect every time.
Yeah, and then when he doesn't get it, he just rolls through his bag anyways.
But then at the same time, was Patrick then wasting his time trying to get rid of it?
I'd say after like the second time, if it came up, then I'd be like, all right, I'm just wasting resources. I need to move on with whatever plan I have.
Yeah, it's just I think if he would have let that spot go, I think he would have lost before turns, and so it prolonged what he needed to do. And he was in a bad spot. Let's make it clear. He was just in a bad spot when James got the investigations, got the spot rolling, and really like the only thing slowing James down was the spot being put out because he had to at least pay to field him, so it was reducing the purchase power and then making him just. Yeah, he was getting the spot out and getting the investigations, and it was frustrating. But I still think it was the better play with what... I mean, he didn't get a shield to buy what he needed. He got it one or 2 times, and we made the comment that he should have probably got Bishop right then and there.
Instead of Hela, I think, was the play. The time when he bought the Hela, he could have bought the Bishop. And I think that would have been a very bold call if he had done that.
Mm-hmm.
And it would have meant that the game...
He would have drawn a line in the sand right there.
It would have gone a lot longer, right? It would have been a long way round for Patrick to get back to a position where he could win.
Mm.
But then at the same time, he kind of built his way up to winning and then still didn't have enough time to get that Yarnborn in circulation. That's ultimately why he had to stop, right?
Yeah. And the second game was just pretty straightforward. James got his dragon, and he brought it to the party, and the party didn't last that long.
So what's interesting here is Patrick chose to stick with Hela rather than changing over the much quicker allies team?
I can kind of see why, because he's got to win with that team anyways, and he pilots really good, and it just depends on roles, and so he feels equally comfortable with both, but he's got to get a win with that Hela team, and the Sidekicks team is super strong. I think he can pretty much beat almost anyone with that Sidekick team. In fact, he can.
My feelings as to why he would do that is just stats.
Yeah.
Gold Dragon, to be able to stop it, you need something that has more than 3 defense.
And yeah, the Sidekick team just doesn't have it.
It has Professor X, but would you go for that? And it has Madam Mask on top level, Spider-Man maybe, but I mean...
But it has something that the Hela team wouldn't have, say, if the Gold Dragon, got up and running, and that was removal.
That's true. I think Patrick did okay against the thing with the Gold Dragon team is it went as fast as it has gone in the tournament, right? Mm-hmm. It has done as well as it has ever done up to now.
Yeah.
So it's kind of difficult regardless, I think.
Yeah. I mean, I think that Ring of Winter just pushes that Dragon team so hard, and
it helps. It does. It makes turn 3 Dragon pretty likely, but at the same time,
I mean, it's on level 3. That's what's nuts.
You can still buy the Gold Dragon, yeah. You can still get the Gold Dragon, and you can still get it out, and you can still be doing breath.
Yeah, it's just cost reduction and field on level 3. That's bonkers. Like,
yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Like, you're basically bringing a win combination by itself with another dragon, and that's it. That's insane. That's why that thing needs to be bigger.
The Psychic team would have had the Scarlet Witch, which maybe would have helped.
Yeah, you're right about that, Patrick. If he wins with Hela, he says I go second against the dragon, meaning that I can mimic the dragon turn 3. That's super good.
Yeah. I mean, you'd have viable options, and you'd have the defenses there for that. I just think that removal plus the getting off the ground quicker would really help you kind of close out the game.
Yeah, it just depends on turns and how things go, and I don't disagree with him going the way he went, because I do think he had to win with that Hela team. And
oh yeah, well, I mean, I don't disagree with it either. He obviously knows the better matchups, and
we know how you feel about him, senpai.
I mean, as far as deck construction or as far as team building, yes,
yeah,
I'll agree to that.
Yeah.
The thing with mimicking that Gold Dragon though is Gold Dragon doesn't kill Gold Dragon at level 3 unless it's been breath weapon. So even if you mimic the Gold Dragon on turn 3, if James then does the breath weapon, his mimic would be dead and the Gold Dragon would not be dead.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which is a big advantage still. I think if that Gold Dragon went as fast as it did that game, I don't think there's many teams that could stop it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and James, I mean, if James hadn't pulled the Ring of Winter on that one turn the way he did, the game would have turned out different.
Well, he had 6 dice in his bag. If he hadn't pulled,
that was the thing. Winter, it was an all or nothing turn.
Yeah,
he would have had the Ring of Winter and the Gold Dragon in the bag at the same time, which is just that is not very good.
But he could also buy another gold. Well, the Ring of Winter would come out, but the Gold Dragon would be in the bag. He could just turn around and buy a Gold Dragon, Ring of Winter that next turn, but it's wasting resources when he's already sunk it in as much as he needs to for that team.
Yeah, but I mean, 2 Gold Dragons isn't bad, but
no, it's not.
3, no. So yeah, it's a strong team, and I don't know if Scarlet Witch really slows it down all that much.
Yeah,
it doesn't slow it down enough, I feel. Especially whenever you're getting them to roll on a possible double energy side, and they can just do the same thing, cheapen Mr. Fix-It cost. and then go from there.
And he's got Magic Missile on his team, and if he gets him out there and gets Magic Missile like double energy, okay, cool, awesome.
I do think though that Gold Dragon Ring Winter is not just a team that anyone can pick up and run.
You have to have experience with it.
Yeah. Whereas something like the first team that James played, his kind of mixed bag of everything, is a kind of simple-ish team for people to pick up and play.
Yeah. So we were actually talking about that, and one of the strategies that we noticed that has worked really well with people, as far as like when you take away the level of play that a pilot has had for their team or whatnot, and you get down to like team stats versus team stats, we've been noticing that teams that have like multiple win cons or backup win cons, and not just, you know, all their pieces go towards one straightforward strategy, those teams have actually been more successful over the latter mentioned teams. So like that hodgepodge that you saw of James is where he had, you guys kept on commentating that he still had this to go fall back on, right? If this missed, then he could do this thing. And, you know, that's important to stress.
And the team is those that, I mean, he has 3 different win conditions essentially. If he wants, he can just churn through and basic actions and do boom boom. He can do the occasional action and hit with Yanti, or he can just go Nobby.
Nobby, Danger Room, and just punch people in the face as hard as he can.
And they all kind of work together, and they're also cheap that you can just buy them all anyway.
And he has spot investigation. If he has to pivot, he can pivot quick.
But that's going to be the balance, right? That's going to be the kind of, how do you fit multiple win conditions in and still have enough control where you feel protected against whatever the meta is?
Right. And it's, you sort of have to find those utility cards that work, that have multiple purposes.
Yeah.
Which I think is why Shriek and Blob are still going to be...
Blob is... I think Blob is super good, all forms of him. Cause, except for, I would say probably the common is not so good.
Common's good. It's just not... It's usable, and it's
just not on the same level as the common, the uncommon, or the rare.
You have to build around it, whereas the uncommon and the rare kind of fit in their own little... They're there. You don't have to work it in.
Then the good thing about the Shriek and Blob issue is that we have a couple of cards which are really good and just hard counter them straight up, right?
Yeah.
There's the Common Thanos, there's the Wonder Woman, and there's the Madam Mask. So...
And the Madam Mask, the only way to get around her is just to get a Shriek or something out first before her, and that's it.
Yep.
So that's another interesting thing about a lot of these matches, even leading up to the championship match. I originally thought it was going to be like a who gets their Shriek out first or who gets their control piece out first. A lot of times it just came down to who gets the first step into that win con, right? Who's the first one to get that step? Who's the first one to get there?
For a card as on the surface broken as Shriek is, she's proving pretty easy to deal with.
Yeah.
For the majority of teams.
And you really should not bring the thing to counter it on your own team like Magic Missile. Because that super just murders her.
Then again, you go back into the balance, right?
Right.
You have Magic Missile, so they're going to be wasting 3 energy to get a character that you might get back straight away anyway.
True. But you're having, on her good side, you're having to spend energy to field her back, slowing you down somewhat. So it just serves a good purpose to constantly knock her out. Even though it delays yours, but if you're ramping properly, it may not matter, but it might.
I'm just saying the inclusion of the Shriek on either of the teams and everybody's 2-team takedown list has not made that much of an impact as originally projected.
Yeah,
I would actually put it further down on the list after seeing these results.
Yeah,
but I think it's just going to be everyone's full back to piece, though, no?
Yeah,
it's going to be like the auto include, just like Scarlet Witch would be, merely because it fits that kind of purpose, right? And that it's the only card that can do exactly what you need it to do when you want it to do it every time.
Yeah.
It's basically going to be useful in every game.
Yeah.
But it's not going to be like game breaking like everybody thought it was originally.
No, which is excellent.
card
set
design.
Yeah.
The one I think needs more love is probably the rare blob. I think he does get some love, but if someone's running just like Green Devil Mask, you can stop their Green Devil Mask. That's literally the only thing that can stop Green Devil Mask is blob.
The good balance with the blob though is that he's one more than Shriek, so people are going to be look at that and then be like, okay, well, Shriek is cheaper.
Yeah.
And the second thing is that it has no attack stats
At all.
So it's virtually useless as part of your win condition unless you're running
Team up.
Yeah, team up or villains.
Yeah. And you can't trade as easily with it as you could with Shriek. So you can't make profitable blocks or attacks. So that you can either refill it or just reuse its ability again.
And he's super vulnerable to Shriek or Arch Nemesis.
Yeah, Arch Nemesis is your counter, but then are you going to include Arch Nemesis just to deal with the blob or just to deal with the collector? Is that worth it?
Or if they have an unblockable Yuan-Ti to flip their stats. If it's
that's another. So going back to that's another card again that everybody initially thought going in. They were like, "Oh, Collector Navi is going to be the boogeyman of the tournament."
Yeah,
and it wasn't.
Yeah, I feel like that was the biggest surprise for me how poorly that card did. But I think the thing with it is that you need to get it set up really quickly.
And in a 25-minute game, it's really hard, and it gets countered by people stopping when fielded. It also gets stopped by shrieking. It also gets stopped by blobbing. It also gets stopped by Green Devil Mask. It's kind of a lot of things that stop that combo.
Yeah, Madam Mask, Wonder Woman, anything that blocks one fielded effects blocks the effectiveness of that.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that if you don't go for it early, you don't get a lot of profit out of it. And if you do go for it early, you're going out of way when you could just buy the nobbies themselves and manually field them.
But I mean, when you're looking at the scale of purchase cost to the other, important win con pieces, you've got Jubilee, Yuan-Ti, and Boom Boom are all on their 2 side, which means you can buy them turn 1, turn 2, and effectively field them turn 3. Whereas with Collector, you have to wait till turn 3 to have the optimal purchase, and then turn 4 for the fielding. So,
if you're playing your bag right,
yeah, it's a really bad trade when you look at just based off of purchase cost.
I mean, that's why I switched off him and went to the Common Hulk, because Common Hulk to me just seems more attainable. It's easier to control, and it allows mistakes, not colossal mistakes, but it allows mistakes. Whereas Collector, so many things stop it.
Well, you just have more bang for your buck if you're gonna go that route. Like you're still gonna wind up purchasing her in turn 3 at the earliest and fielding her turn 4, but at least by turn 4, you'll have somewhat of a win conditions, cobbled together. Whereas with Collector, you still have to have that reserve 2 or 3 energy for your one big push.
I think that's kind of the thing that's going to define whether Collector, and I think to an extent Gold Dragon, how well it's going to do, how well people can preserve their ramp, because Gold Dragon is a big energy sink, and so is Collector.
Yeah.
Whereas something like Sidekicks, you're not putting any energy into that you're not getting straight back out, right? You're fielding Sidekicks to ramp and also doing damage with them, and then you just do it again. You just keep ramping and doing damage at the same time. It's the same with the spot Boom Boom.
Not only that, but you're also making like profitable attacks and blocks with said sidekicks. So you're always going to be able to reuse that ability.
Yeah.
So it's whether someone can keep up the energy needed to keep breath weaponing if they have a Kate Bishop or a blocker that just can, like a blob that can sustain 3 damage.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
I mean, that's the big thing about that.
Or the Collector that can, if you have some way of keeping the field thin, can you keep affording to pump in energy to Boom Boom or Norman Osborn every turn?
Yeah, and you got to have those specific things. If you don't have an energy fixer on your team, which I don't know if you really need energy fixers for those type of teams, you can just hope to roll the wild or the single energy that you need. Because I put an energy fixer on my team, and when it came to the changing being able to change at the time. I had 2 other cards that I had to change out, and I just realized that I just didn't need the energy fixer. It's just only helping out my opponent. So you should be able to get energy in the field to be able to get them if you have collector. Like if you're able to buy collector, you should be able to have enough of just 1 or 2 energy to buy what you need, and especially if you have two different when fielded effects to buy. That's what's super good.
Well, so the other great thing about the sidekicks you were saying about energy fixers, right, and how it could be a double-edged sword. Well, honestly, there's the crystal that changes your wilds to sidekicks can mitigate that without you having to bring something that will help your opponent every game.
If you're smart enough to play it.
Right? But that crystal, you're also getting rid of question marks in order to have sidekicks, and question marks are very useful.
Right. So I mean, it's how you want to scale your risk reward ratios.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of the good job that they're doing right now is everything has an equal benefit and also kind of
a downside.
A downside, yeah, not really a downside necessarily, but like a way you have to play around with it.
Yeah,
you can't just put it into your team and be like, oh yeah, this is gonna.
Well, I mean, we've seen like in all of the 25 teams that entered, we've seen a wide variety of like high risk, high reward teams, and we've seen a lot of like low risk, medium to high reward teams too. And they've all kind of shaken out the same once we went into the top 8.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you got to figure out the cost effectiveness of what you got to do, and you can't just go with 1 win con, and you can't dedicate too many cards to 1 win con. And the energy fixer is just dedicating something to a card, especially like Yarnborn. Rare Yarnborn is just you're dedicating it to energy fixing for a specific card that you need, and it just seems like such a throwaway.
Mm-hmm. You don't have space in your team really for a throwaway card.
Yeah.
Anymore. Whereas you could have put in the Clayface for a mask in a mask ring team because you didn't need that much stuff apart from
or a Bolt ring team for Merlin. Merlin's an excellent win
Merlin
condition.
was a good backup, right? That's why
he was a really good backup.
That one. And that's why people like Cyborg as well.
Yeah.
Because they offered something different. And that's why I think Billy Club and Mjolnir are still going to be the people's go-to cards for energy fixing if they want that.
Yeah, Billy Club, I think I have no problem putting Billy Club on any of my teams as an energy fixer just because it's so useful. So useful. Mjolnir's the next one, and then after that, it just kind of falls off.
I mean, it doesn't help.
Go ahead. No, go carry on, Joe.
No, I was just going to mention real quickly that it doesn't hurt that the energy fixer or Billy Club just so happens to be Mask, which you can use for PXG, and it also happens to be one of the more effective energy types with control pieces, like say Green Devil Mask or even Tabashi Rogue.
Mm-hmm. And it's a bit of a shame we didn't get to see Patrick's sidekick team line up against that Dragon team.
Mm-hmm. That's what I was looking forward to.
I think that sidekick team is as good a sidekick team as you can build, and I think sidekicks might be the thing.
Yep.
Really, even compared to like Matt Jordane's sidekick team.
I think Patrick's is more consistent, and the reward on it is much better than Matt Jordane's. Matt Jordane's, when it goes off, it's ridiculous. But Patrick's is more consistent. The buildup is has a better curve to it, and it's more expected what it's going to do. Whereas Matt's, if it doesn't go off, he's in the lurch. That's the problem with it.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you are going to see a sidekick team, it's pretty much going to be Patrick's team, maybe with the Madam Mars switch for a bishop or something.
Yeah.
So let's focus on applying that to Nats now. Is that something that you would see that's a viable strategy in nationals?
If I had Super Air Jubilee, that's what I would run. I'd run Patrick's team exactly, apart from Madam Mask, I'd swap out Bishop. But I don't have Super Red Jubilee.
I have Super Red Jubilee.
I know.
Are you super jealous?
Just to give. Well, it means I have to do something else, right?
If I lived close to you, I'd let you borrow it for like a day.
I know, it's still not the same because you can't test with it. But I mean, I think that's what I would run.
Yeah.
I think it's super fast. It's super efficient. It's good ramp. It's good protection. You have 3 spots to protect with: Shriek, Scarlet Witch, and Madam Mask.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
You have both combat damage win con and direct damage win con.
Yep, for sure. And I mean, that's so. Even though a lot of people have chosen to rely more on, Insect Plague Global for their sidekick teams, which we didn't see a whole lot of that go on. It was more of, just to get an unblockable Mr. Fix-It in there, or, the like thereof.
Yeah. I think Insect Plague is really good with like a Yanti control and Yanti sidekick control team, and just pushing through with team up. That's a super good combo.
I think the interesting thing with Insect Plague, though, is you give it to your opponent. That's kind of the big problem.
You're also helping them out. So it goes back to the same argument. How much of your globals do you want the opponent to be able to use? Or
which
how
I guess is
effective do you want them to be?
Which is the one downside to that sidekick team. You are giving your opponent a lot of stuff they can play around with, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. You're giving them an energy fixer. You're giving them a PXG global. Not to mention, if they bring their own sidekick team, then you increase their chances of dealing just as much damage or dealing with your Jubilee.
Then they also increase the chances of you doing.
So then it boils down to the age-old Golden Age problem that we had, or that you might have experienced back in '16 there, sir. It basically just comes down to who goes first, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whoever goes first, if they manage it better, then they win.
Yeah, which is probably the one thing that the sidekick team lacks, right? It doesn't have a way to come back from. So the big thing that I always thought about Bard Imprisoned was that Imprisoned was a way to come back. No matter how far behind you are, if you got that Imprisoned roll out, you took all their stuff, you were ahead of them.
I would not have liked you back in the day when you played that in prison. I would have been just like, yeah, that jerk Ben.
You would have been a much different player in person too, Chris, because that's the meta molded you to be such.
That psychic team has very similar feelings to me with that Bard team. Just based around, what your kind of turn 1 purchases, your turn 2 purchases, your turn 3 purchases.
Would you say it's kind of like the same as the Yanti from this season, the Yanti teams?
Yeah, kind of, but more fun.
More thought put into it, you say?
Yeah, well,
it was more enjoyable. Even though you saw it coming, you were like, okay, well, if he does it right, then there's some decent payout.
If he does it right, I'm flipping the table.
2 dice.
Yeah,
but I think that the Jubilee into the Mimic Jubilee, feel both, then just start ramping. It's super crazy good.
And then eventually get Mimic taken off the board to copy something else.
And then
win. That's really it. It's just win.
You can pull off a win by that similar strategy. You can pull off a win by turn 5, which is something we've seen Patrick do on frequent occasions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but it gives you lots of, because you can just start. If they have a bit of a board, you can just start swinging with sidekicks, clear out their board a bit, and then if you get them low enough, that Spider-Man just comes in, copy them with Mimic, and then you got 6 to 10 damage with those 2 dice.
Heck, even copying just Jubilee with that Mimic just makes it super brutal when that Spider-Man gets out there.
Yeah.
That Mimic copying anything but a sidekick is just so gross.
Yep.
So, I hope everybody can take away a lot from our top 8 matches, even the matches that we had during the week, whether they were recorded or not. I hope everybody can take something away and build something, either competitive or just really fun to take to Nats. So that I think
you got to. This is the only tournament really that's happened that is modern age.
Yeah, we got super lucky.
Yeah, everybody that played in the tournament got enough practice, whereas everybody that watched the tournament, they got the chance to take notes, but not really put those notes into practice.
You heard it here first. Yeah, take part in our tournaments.
Yeah.
Or you're not going to win Nats.
It would be super awesome if everyone that was in the tournament wound up placing really well or winning their nationals, because we had people all around the world.
Yeah, I mean,
James is going to be hot favorite at UK Nats, huh?
Yep.
He is. He's going to be favored.
Because some guy isn't going to be there. You know what I'm saying?
And Laurier is probably going to be favorite at Can Nats.
Yeah.
Or Matt. Matt could be. Laurier's, I don't know. Laurier's a wizard.
You're probably going to be favored too. I don't know if you know that.
No, I'm not. I run Guardians teams.
Oh, there's that guy that played Guardians in the 2-team takedown.
Yeah, maybe you do it on purpose, and then you show up with a Super Rare Jubilee, and everybody's just like, "Nani?"
Yeah, I don't have Super Rare Jubilee. No, I run Psychics, so I had it, but I don't have it. So
you don't have that team, sir. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have anything good. I don't have Collector. I think I'm just gonna run Turtles.
There you go.
Dude, Turtles is so good and fun, but it's so terrible.
Good, man. I made a Turtles team. It's pretty good. It's not bad.
Well, you actually took it to a competition.
I played it. Yeah, I played an online WK with it. Yeah. Metalhead's super good. It's good. I like it.
Metalhead and all the discounters and Donatello.
Yep. It's not bad.
It's the cookie cutter Turtles team that when you open it, you're like, oh, I'm going to have that for discount, have that for discount. Oh, Donatello is really good. Metalhead's really good. All right, yeah, I got my team.
Yeah.
So, we're going to be looking forward to Nationals to see if the teams that were represented well in the top 8, as well as the top 16 even, are going to be represented in overall at the Nationals. I think that would be an awesome sight to see.
The top 3 teams I'm predicting are going to do well are the 3 of the 4 teams that we saw today, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or in the final. Yeah. So you have the Gold Dragon team. Someone's going to run that. You're going to have to. You're going to have the Sidekicks team. That's going to be good. And you're going to have the kind of toolbox direct damage team.
Yeah.
With that collect the boom boom maybe as like a 4th. But I think they're I think Fix It has proved in this tournament that he's not quite good enough. That's just me being biased because I don't like Fix It.
I would love to see people play Uncommon Fix It. That's what I want to see. I super love that card.
I mean, if they can make it work.
Yeah, Fix It's super good. You guys showed it in the Brewers Corner.
Yeah. That's the card I want to play.
I don't think personally he's going to be placing first at any Nats events.
Yeah.
I think he's going to be there. I think he's going to be there. I think people are going to try to push him to top 4. I agree with you. I don't think he's going to have enough push to get him to,
Although, but I mean, we have to talk to James about it, but it'd be interesting to see if he wants to keep that Fix It in that team, or whether he goes with another 6 cost. Or
I think that Fix It's a good backup win con of stuff. Like if the Gold Dragon's blobbed, or something.
I think Gold Dragon's stoppable. I think with the Kate Bishop and which is stop him.
You just buy 2 dragons at that point and just try to make them save 2 masks every single time.
So, I mean, the other thing, too, is that he could just slot in a Common Hulk just as easily because that Gold Dragon is more than likely going to be blocked if he's not doing the Breath Weapon.
Mm-hmm.
And so
I think that Hulk's a good fit with it.
The Uncommon. Oh, my God, the Uncommon Hulk with him because he's going to be – the Uncommon Fix It.
Fix It after Breath Weapon.
Yeah. Oh, my God, that would be kind of amazing.
Yeah. Well, I mean – Giving Green Winter a singular linear use is not as good as putting another dragon on there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's hard to line up Green Winter to be used more than once, which is where I think if someone's going to run that successfully, they're going to have to work out how to do that.
Which James kind of worked it out perfectly, honestly. I mean, he got it to hit almost every single time.
Yeah.
I almost think that just, maybe not having the Mr. Fix-It, but having something that's a 6 cost or higher that would be of equal utility would be better in that instance, like you were saying.
Yeah, I think all the cards that are in top 4 today are going to be prevalent. or in the top 4 teams or the top whatever teams. Whatever this tournament has shown what the best cards are.
Yeah. And the Super Rare Yanti is garbage. I've shown that many times.
It looks to be that no one really... everyone thought Attune was going to be a thing, huh?
Yeah.
I still think it is. I still think it is. It's just I'm a terrible pilot. That's probably all it is.
No, it's just, I mean, we've seen so the examples that each of the top 4 teams has given us is that they're quick and efficient. And with the Attune teams, you can't actually afford to be that quick. You have to set up, because a lot of the Attuners are 3, 4, 5, 6 costs, right? So then that kind of tunes down how effective you're going to be on your purchase costs whenever you're still trying to maintain your bag management.
Yeah, I mean, even with that pseudo dragon, right, you're still doing 2 damage. So you need to buy 10 action dice, and no one's going to buy 10 action dice.
Yeah.
You know what I've been kind of thinking about doing with an Attune team? Just buying a 3 cost and buying all the Cobalt traps as soon as I can, getting them out in the field, and then just having them pop the traps. And get all the Yantis in the field, and then just having Pseudo Dragon and Yanti in the field at the same time on level 2, and there's nothing they can do about it.
I saw, I can't remember, I think it was Zane maybe.
Zane had the Cobalt trap, but he had the denial. It was a denial team.
He did, but in one game he popped like 3 traps and put like 3 Yantis in the field. I mean,
I saw him pop 4. He ran out of Yantis to put out in the field.
That's pretty interesting.
It's it's a novelty idea, but is it really going to win a nationals tournament?
I mean, I was working out the math with someone. It's kind of like a 4 to 5 energy save, with having to save the purchase of it, having to field it, and wait for it to get out in the field. It's almost a 4 to 5 energy save. I may have my math wrong on that, but it sounds correct, because you're not paying the fielding cost, and you don't have to pay for the character. You're saving 1 right away, and even though you're buying 4 traps, you're still getting effect for it, and it can be used as a control piece, because they don't want to field the level 2 to get all those out there.
I think the interesting thing as well is it's a fist, which is an interesting energy type.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it'd be interesting to see if someone started working on single affiliation energy types and what they could do with that kind of thing. Again, I think without Lantern Ring, it's not going to be the same, but I mean, Shields won Worlds last year, so
yeah.
If you can have enough energy of the right type to trigger your globals, I think we saw a little bit with the kind of Squirrel Girl with the mindless ones, right? Where you're using that to ping the Hulk.
Yeah.
That's pretty... If you have enough fists, you can do that a lot of times.
Yeah. Yeah. It's I think you have to really, really go hard in the paint for that one to really just pan out for you.
But then you don't run into the problems that Patrick did, where you roll these energies and you can't do anything with them, right? Because you're more likely going to keep the same energy if you roll. So, I don't know. Yeah. It'll be interesting to see what shakes out. But I think anyone who is interested in competitive Dice Masters needs to watch at least the top 8 games, because everyone in there had teams that were competitive.
And you can also watch any of the matches that I played and just do the opposite.
Yeah, same here.
All right, so I think we covered the tournament and what our thoughts on it. For the surface coverage, we're probably going to make a video talking about our thoughts on the meta going forward. I really want to do that and talk about each part of the meta that we want to go over. Win cons, kind of like what DM Ramada does. He did it really well, so we'll just kind of give our opinion about our meta pieces going forward.
And how they're relevant to the 2-team takedown format, in case your local store wants to support that format, which we highly recommend.
Yeah, contact us if you need help with trying to figure out the rules.
It's a very good, fun. It's a very fun system.
Mm-hmm. For the limited time, the super system can get to you too.
But it's also quite a good balancing system, right? As well.
Yeah, that's.
Oh yeah.
I think the way that the online play was before, it's still the online play is still going on. Before we didn't revolutionize anything. We're trying to, but the way the online play was before, it was just you play one team, and one person. Like I still do this. I still try to fix my team and make it perfect to play. And Ben gets tired of playing the same team that I'm playing against him, and he just like keeps switching up teams. And I'm like, you're just building teams to beat this team. But it just adds more depth, I think.
Yeah, but also the way you guys are set up, I think, just to say, someone who's not officially part of the channel, I think it's good to have people commentate and talk about games. I think that's a really good idea, and how many games you're putting up is really useful.
Yeah, it's
something you don't get too often in the previous online tournaments. Again, not saying that they were bad, or it's just that they were different in the fact that you would watch them if people happened to put them out, or if you happen to catch those games. But then outside of that, it was like, oh yeah, well this happened in the online tournament. It wasn't like, oh well, this is what we can learn from it. Let's move on from here. And commentating would, like Ben, anybody that you put up with in the, or that you're up with in the booth, it's always fun, to hear you talking to them, and because you always manage to mix it up as far as commentating style.
Yeah. The other thing that's helped as well is the Dice Coalition rooms, right?
Oh, Dice Coalition's the greatest. They've been fully supporting everything, and let's give a shout out to them. Dice Coalition's been nothing but great.
Huge shout outs.
And Patrick's part of that too. He's part of Dice Coalition, and he's helped them figure out what's going on with it. And Patrick, honestly, I'm so glad that you were in the finals against. I couldn't have been more happy with the finals unless I was in it. It was those two, but as we know, I could have never been in the finals. But I'm super happy.
I could have been happier.
Well, I was still waiting for your surprise Larth team.
Yeah, Larth. I tried it.
So one thing we failed to mention is that out of all the contestants, we did have several people who had their own YouTube channels, and we do appreciate their participation too, because it helped get out more awareness. There was several people that were subscribed to them that, gave our channel a look and gave us a chance as far as, just watching along with us and hearing from our commentary and our weekly roundups and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So we want to give huge shout outs to them as well.
DM Armada, Dice Masters with James and Zach, DM of the Dice Masters of the Great North, DM North. Those Canadians tend to stick north in everything. And also going forward, we're gonna start ramping up for the next tournament, which is going to be a draft event. That's going to be from what everyone's telling me, I pretty much know that too. It's going to be a major undertaking, but it's a challenge that I want to take, and I love challenges. I love doing things like that.
I'm super excited. I think it's going to be interesting.
And then, Joe, you want to talk about something else real quick?
Well, since we tried the 2-team takedown in Modern post-rotation, we're actually going to try it with a different format, and one that's going to see a few shakeups with the release of the new product. And that format is going to be Golden Age. So I'm going to, starting now, I'm going to start organizing or getting things ready for a Golden Age format 2-team takedown tournament that we're going to have, which is going to kick in shortly after the draft tournament is done. Shortly after the online draft is done.
And Joe's taking the point on that one because I'm going to be busy with the draft event, and I'm not going. It's not that I'm going to be hands off with the Golden Age stuff. Joe is taking the point. If you have any questions about it, Joe's the man. We're still discussing bans.
Madness. It's going to be actually madness. It's going to be. I don't know what's going to happen.
We're looking forward to it. Basically, right now we're working on what I'm going to be needing from everybody is if y'all have comments or any questions or anything like that, feel free to come at us. And I'm in the Chris and Rob Game Room Discord as well as the Dice Masters Online Discord. If you guys have any suggestions, comments, anything like that towards potential ban list or potential restriction list, we talked about Yes, you can have Cube, but you can't have Yanti on the same team. Same thing for any other particularly troublesome combinations.
If you have Bard, you can't have any control.
There you go. But no, we're coming up with a formal ban list for this. And if anything, there's also going to be like an added couple of cards that stay restricted, meaning that you can have one or the other, but you can't have both of them on the same team.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be the way to make it fair, because we have a lot of people that haven't been playing as long as I haven't been playing as long as a lot of people that have a lot of the Golden Age stuff. I mean, it shows when I play. I still make a lot of mistakes. Like I don't know what I'm doing because a lot of times I just don't. I'm learning. I've learned more in this tournament than I ever have just sitting down and playing.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and I really look forward to Constantine being back in the thing.
Oh my god, I love Constantine. Yep. It's so gross.
So, anybody who's been a recent player who hasn't seen the effectiveness of a super rare Constantine, it's just
also, how shiny that dice is. It's so pretty.
Oh man, the best feeling in the world is getting those 2 shields on turn 1, so that you can Rip Hunter's chalkboard a Constantine and roll them out perfectly on turn 2. It's the greatest feeling in the world.
And then.
Or Marshmallow. Come on, guys. Respect for Marshmallow. Love that card.
So you can bring this 2-team takedown tournament. It's Golden Age, which means there's thousands of cards to choose from, and that means it's a greater pool to choose from. So you're not exactly suffering. I mean, obviously you can't have your super rare Constantine on both teams, but you can have stuff like a Shriek on one team and a rare Dwarf Wizard on the other.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, everyone's gonna do that. Oh.
Yeah, and so I mean, you'll look forward to seeing just more than what's out there.
Oh man, I'm making an Avengers team with Patch. Oh, that's gonna be so good.
My days. And don't forget that also this Golden Age format will include newer cards from the product that's going to be releasing in June and July. So we're not gonna start it until after all the product has reached both hemispheres.
We're gonna try to.
Right, Eastern or Western meeting.
Depending on how WizKids put out of stuff, we may not have much of a choice and just not include the newer stuff. But
we'll give some lead time for it. If, for example, if you're all the way out in Australia and you're missing like 1 or 2 cards from those new sets on your teams, we'll go ahead and put them in there as like a proviso. And then especially if it's like 1 or 2 weeks out, we'll go ahead and just have you slot that in.
I've also think, how would you guys feel about sideboards for the 2-team takedown format going forward? Like have like 2 cards that you can slot in on either team.
I think that'd be hard to manage.
Yeah, that's a conversation for not a live stream.
Yeah, Chris.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Chris has always got ideas in his head.
And Ben can also kind of be reached with our channel also, but Ben's pretty much he's the neighborhood cat that goes over to everyone's house and gets food.
Dude. Yeah.
I'm drinking their milk.
Random guy. Yeah. My sideboard's going to consist of Ring of Winter and Gold Dragon.
Stupid. You would be that guy.
Here's my sideboard. It's a team by itself.
Oh my god. It is a team by itself. Does anyone in the audience have any questions so far? Probably not. We only got 6 people watching, so.
Yeah. But anyway, we're looking forward to the Golden Age starting up.
Yeah, Dragons are going to be good. Avengers are going to be good. X-Men are going to be super good.
X-Men are going to be really good because of X-Men First Class. Like, they're just going to be off the wall.
Yeah, you get the old Colossus. You get the promo Wolverine. The promo Colossus is super good. The old Beasts are super good. The old Storms are super good. Avengers are going to be mad.
The Hulk, the Green Goliath guy.
See, how I feel about that, Ben, is, I mean, no offense, but I feel like you're going to be the one taking the Avengers team. It's going to be the equivalent of you taking the Guardians team.
No, with Patch, I'm sorry, Patch with a bunch of stuff is super good.
There are some new Avengers that I'm interested in seeing how they interact with that.
Yeah, and
Some ideas, yeah.
I'm workshopping a few teams for the Golden Age because I haven't really played it that much. What the heck do you want, Robert? Watch your stupid baseball game.
Batman, Bat Family's gonna be super good.
Oh my God,
That
Robert's gonna
family's
be
gonna
happy.
be phenomenal. I
Super,
mean,
but you get Superman with nowhere back.
Yep.
Jimmy Olsen.
There's a lot of potential combos, but because the other thing too is like our top 8 could be littered with 16 different teams that don't even share a single card.
Or it could just all be. It could just all be bards.
All be sidekicks with Nobby. Yeah.
Yeah.
Gobby.
You know,
Nobby,
no,
Gobby,
no.
and that Malekith. No, Nobby, Gobby, and that Malekith that make sidekicks villains.
Yep.
Oh my God.
So then you get like both.
Oh my days, yeah. Yep.
Have White Tiger Global and Green Devil mascot.
Yeah, that's
so I want everybody to get their brewing caps on, and no, Green Goliath is not going to be banned. There's better options out there.
Hella Beholder.
That's my baby, and that's what I'm playing.
That Green Goliath with uncommon fix it would be pretty good.
Oh yeah.
Oh yes. Oh my God. I want this to happen soon. I'm really excited about the Golden Age event just because
we need to let it, you know, kind of sizzle for a couple of months, I think.
We need to do some mini of like some one day things where we just play it against people and just see how it goes, because I want to do that. Have some Golden Age online stuff, just games. That would be fun. Not an event, just games.
Well, I mean, everybody can get their brewing caps on. We're gonna have a couple of series. I know that my Brewers Corner coming up is gonna specialize in some Golden Age stuff.
Yeah, I mean the Beholder, it has to have some Golden Age. Exclusively Golden Age.
Yeah, so the Beholder that we're gonna do on our next Brewers Corner after this one is gonna be my signature brew. So
Ultraman with Boom Boom is pretty disgusting.
Oh, let's not put that out in the ether.
We'll
have James playing that.
He could probably pull it off too.
Everything's super disgusting.
So, Ben, what is your signature card? What would you like to have everyone else brew around? Guardians?
Marshmallow.
Hey, you said it. I'll do
Larth.
Lolth.
Yeah.
The best. I don't know. I have all the cards. Dice Masters is my signature card.
Oh, shut that.
You know the back of all the cards? That's my signature card.
Oh my God, you're the worst.
Ultron Drone Team was a suggestion there.
Oh man, yeah. Ultron with that Boom Booms, with that dupe is pretty good.
Oh yeah.
It does 3 damage when you capture a dice. The Awaken dupe, where you just spin up and down.
Oh my God, that's stupid. That just sounds so broken.
Add a little cube in the mix. You're doing 5 per. Seems good. Seems real good.
Wow, you just literally just need to spin him up 4 times and you win.
Yeah.
That just sounds terrible.
Totally doable in Golden Age. I mean,
wow.
We'll talk about it some more on the back end, and we'll talk about bans and restrictions. If anybody has any suggestions again,
hit Joe
we'd
up.
love to hear from you guys. Yeah, hit me up specifically. You can hit the channel up if you want to, and they'll forward the messages to me.
You can also do chrisandrobgameroom@gmail.com. I'll figure out a way to get that to Joe, and we might have getting something to have direct emails for us specifically. I'm working on that. I'm working on it, guys. I'm hustling.
So we've got, not only do we have that coming up in the next couple of months, but while the draft is going, we want everybody to take their time to watch, all of the nats that come in, or at least, read the coverage, whatever comes in, pay attention to that. And so that, we can be looking forward to the next time we do a 2-team tournament,
modern
with, modern.
Yeah, I think from UK Nats, the Ministry of Dice crew and Phil and Steve should be getting a lot of footage. They've said they're going to get as much footage as possible.
Nice. And I also want to talk about something else real quick. This is going to be the last thing we're going to talk about right now. our tournaments, we're going to start doing tournaments as much as we possibly can. Right now, all the stuff is coming from me and Rob or people donating stuff. So if you want to donate prize support or possibly donations so we can buy prize support and mail stuff, because I don't want to have anyone have to pay to enter a tournament, because I don't want that to be the determining factor in turning someone away. I want everyone to enter, and I want it to be free, but I do want to have prize support. It may be unrealistic, but I always want it to be free, and I always want to give people at least a prize for making top 8, just for having imaginative thinking on their cards and their teams and being a good pilot. So if you want to donate something as a prize support, message me or message the channel, send us a message on Chris and Rob Game Room, go to Twitter, Chris and Rob Game Room, or at Chris and Rob Game Room. We'll take donations, and it'll be applied to a tournament if you guys want to do that, or a prize to the tournament. Matthew Jourdain donated the trophy for this tournament, or for this past one. James is going to be getting it.
Huge shout outs to Matt Jourdain for printing that out for us.
So yeah, if you want to help us out, that's going to be a great way to help out, because if we can't do it one time, we may not have prizes, but we'll still have a tournament. I really don't want to do that.
I'll sign some cards for everyone.
UK Nats 2016.
Yeah.
So one thing I want to add to that is, just because we've got our schedule packed with tournaments and stuff in the next coming months, or even in the next coming weeks, that's not to take away from everything the online community is doing. If there's a tournament that you guys want to do, I know Troy puts on some killer online tournaments. I always enjoy those. He's thinking about doing something, or he mentioned something about putting on a tournament for the people that aren't going to be able to go to Nats, an online tournament, that kind of deal.
I don't think he has time for it. I already talked to him a little bit. He was kind of hoping we were going to do something, and I'm like, I don't have time for that. I've got a lot of tournaments coming up.
Well, we can, but just don't let us, what we're doing, stop you guys from wanting to do more and helping the community grow, because that's the most important part here. Just because we're putting out all this content and all this tournaments and stuff like that doesn't mean that we want to just flood the market with our stuff. What we want to do is we want to make sure that everybody has a chance to help the community grow in their own special way, even if that's putting on their own tournaments, their own online tournaments.
Yeah, I'm happy to join anyone's doing anything to Dice Monsters. So.
With his Guardians team,
I'm easy. I'll play in anything.
So if you have a tournament, hit us up. We'd love to play in it. If I don't have to play in it, I want to play in it.
That's the beautiful thing about being online, is you don't have to rush to the next table. You could just plan out your time, and you can book as many online tournaments as possible in your day.
Oh yeah. So with that being said, if you guys like what you see here, be sure to like us and follow and do all that stuff. We're starting to build towards a decent channel amount, and at 100 subscribers, we are going to be having a giveaway for this starter.
I need that. I need a second one.
We'll get to 100 subscribers.
I need a second one also, but I can't win it. So,
that's your name's in the channel. My name's not.
Your name is not on the channel.
Me and Joe can win it.
Yeah.
No, I'm more concerned with helping. I already have 2 starters.
Okay, that's fine. I don't. So just say.
And then we also have a Brotherhood OP, and possibly some other stuff. Just need everything. Is that why you go on so many other Dice Masters things? It's just like, hey, you guys got any free stuff?
Free stuff.
So
the Ministry of Dice pay me money every time I go on this.
They didn't pay me anything. By the way, I'm going to be on that on Monday. So
I think I am as well. So.
Are you serious? They're going to have both of us on the same day?
Yep, £100 every appearance, Chris.
I'm going to call it. I even mentioned your name in that too. The shenanigans. All right. So, all right, everyone. Talk to you guys later, and have fun and play more Dice Masters as much as you can. You know that thing.